it's exercise.
Okay, good morning. We're here at Tabernacles 25 here in Flat Rock, North Carolina. Welcome, everybody. Get up off your couches. And we're going to stand up. And yesterday's was so much fun. We're going to repeat it today just so you don't forget it. It's the gluteals. All right, so a little 5-minute thing, and we got to warm up. So you're just gonna tap and just move your arms and tap, move your arms and tap, and then you can change it over to your heel taps. And you can kind of feel that stretch in your soleus, your calf muscles, and then bring your arms up, and then like this.
These shoes.
Yeah, those shoes aren't. And then up, reach up, pull your knee up, pull down on the knee. Get the blood moving, and then just tap. And just tap. Move your arms around. Okay. All right, so you ready?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so just pull back. Okay, pull back and squeeze. Pull back and squeeze. Pull back. Like that. Just squeeze. Squeeze the glute. Okay, did you get that?
Yep. Gluteus.
The gluteus.
Max.
As you pull it back, you just gonna squeeze. And if you're having trouble with that, grab onto a chair and you can still pull back and squeeze. Pull it back and squeeze. Was anybody sore from yesterday? Even a little tinge back there? Is she stuck? Okay, here we go. All right. Now, if you need the chair, up, back, up, back. And then swap legs, sorry. Up, kick back, up, kick back. And if you need the chair, and this is a great way to practice your balance.
Yeah, I like balance.
My balance needs practice too. On the one foot, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. And then see how far you can go. See how far you can go this way. If you need a chair, just grab on like this. And then the other foot out in the back and reach over. And if you got good balance, you can do it just with your hands. But don't fall over. We don't want to call an ambulance. But if you need the chair, just grab on. And that helps balance. And okay, now you're going to go like a curtsy kind of.
Oh, we didn't do that, I guess.
Yeah, we do kind of. So it's kind of a little curtsy, how fast, you know. You don't have to go very deep, but if you can go deeper, go deeper.
There, look at Alfred after that adjustment, Alfred.
Alfred said he could clip his toenails this morning. Yeah. Okay. Now you just hold it up and just kind of pulse it back there. And if you can, just
Try to balance. I used to not like my teacher. You're like,
yeah, in a minute. She's got about 30 seconds of this. My balance needs practice too. And then swap. Do the other one. Do you feel it back there?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm having trouble with my balance too.
For your legs that do your balance.
It's your feet. It's the bottoms of your feet.
yeah.
One
My
foot.
Bend your knee a little bit, it'll help your balance.
Cheater.
It does. It does.
All right, now just reach down. If you need to bend your knees, reach down, touch the floor, come up.
Wow. Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah, and then you kind of, so now we're just kind of stretching everything out just a little bit. We're coming to the end. Did everybody make it?
Yeah.
How about y'all out there? Did you make it?
He's just laughing at us.
TV show saying like, tell.
Okay, now just kind of
Circle it.
circle the legs, both of them, one at a time. I think I did the same thing yesterday, didn't I? That'll kind of loosen up those gluteals and those hips that we just tightened up. And then just march it out.
And
Just,
you can feel it in the standing leg too.
yes, you can. And then to stretch it out, and then just kind of put your leg behind you and then just stretch it a little bit.
Yeah, I can't stretch.
And then swap the other side, just kind of stretch it out a little bit.
That's what I do for a run.
How was that?
Nice.
Did we make it? Did we live?
Oh, yeah. What?
See movement.
And I was hearing some people say something about they had some fluid buildup in like legs or stuff like that. This is a dry brush, like $5 on Amazon. And so you can use it on the legs. You can use it all over your body. Just remember, only brush in the direction of the heart. So not this way, but just this way. Only in the direction of the heart. And the legs.
And it doesn't exfoliate, so it will.
Yeah. On the legs, same thing, just toward the heart. I did this, my dad had real bad swelling in his legs, and you can see in 5 minutes, the swelling just dissipates.
It's lymphatic massage.
That's exactly what it is.
You can use the salt like that too, they say.
That'll help. But this, all right, let's see if we can pull. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. I'm sitting there looking and I forgot to plug in the video cable. That helps, right? This stuff don't jump. All right, there we go. Where's my... It's not coming up. There we go.
There's a short between the floor and the computer.
There it probably is. All right, this is the thing I was telling you about yesterday. So you have a choice. These two women are the same age.
Look at that.
Same age. Can you believe that? One just made better choices.
And you don't know her name.
I can't think of her name. I cannot remember her name.
She's 80, isn't she?
She's 80. She embarrasses her grandkids when she goes in swimming suit competitions. Okay. All right, see, so it's all about you, baby, and the choices you make. All right, so faith. Now, faith is the confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1. Okay, not that. All right. So major depression is the most common mood disorder. As a paramedic, every time I go at any nursing home I go to, these people are on stuff for depression and anxiety. Almost every single one of them.
And vitamin D.
Yeah. And it costs the U.S. about $70 billion per year. Depression increases the risk of fatal stroke by 50%, sudden cardiac death and heart attack survivors by 2.5 times, death from cancer, death from pneumonia. So it impacts our immune system. It impacts us at a cellular level. All right, the effects of depression. It shrinks the hippocampus. The hippocampus is, inside the brain. Increases stress level hormones. Osteoporosis, hypertension, asthma, headache, physical ability, possible increase of seizures. A lot of times seizure patients, if they're under stress and stuff like that, they will have more seizures. Infertility, decreases sex hormone levels, difficulty controlling blood sugar in diabetes. That's just some. All right, so here's your hippocampus down inside the brain. It's involved in forming, organizing, and storing memories. It is a limbic system structure that is particularly important in forming new memories and connecting emotions and senses such as smell, sound to memories. The hippocampus is a horseshoe-shaped structure with an arching band of nerve fibers, the fornix, connecting the hippocampus structures in the left and right brain hemispheres. So it's right down there in the middle. So that's kind of an important thing. And depression really affects that. All right, so what does the Bible say? A cheerful look brings joy to the heart, and good news gives health to the bones. Proverbs 15:30. Pleasant words are like honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the bones. Proverbs 16:24. A merry heart does good like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones. Proverbs 17:22. So even the Bible mentions depression. All right, brain facts. Okay, comprises only 2% of the total weight of the body, utilizes 15% of the body's total metabolism, contains 100 billion nerve cells, has thousands of different types of neurons compared to 10 or less in the other organs, and one neuron can communicate with as many as 200,000 other neurons. So if you're doing things like fake sugar that causes apoptosis in the brain, that seriously cuts down on that kind of thing. So your nutrition, lifestyle, and everyday choices change the brain structure. So when we talk about depression, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about the neurotransmitters, chemical messengers, endogenous chemicals that enable neurotransmission. Dopamine. Has anybody heard of dopamine? Okay. This is a neurotransmitter that's associated with pleasure and rewards, which is why drugs that stimulate dopamine production are so often addictive, according to Psychology Today. It is an important element when it comes to regulating emotional responses, helps control weight and energy levels. Schizophrenia are associated with the dysfunction of the dopamine system. Parkinson's is also, because you don't have any dopamine. They give you a dopamine substitute. But dopamine has other functions such as, it says Parkinson's, I didn't get that far, such as regulating movement. Lack of dopamine can actually lead to Parkinson's, a central nervous system disorder causing involuntary shaking of the hands and difficulty walking. All right, here's a picture of your brain. I don't know if you can see that, or is it too small? Your frontal cortex up here. You can see the dopamine pathways in the blue. Reward, pleasure, euphoria, motor function, fine-tuning, compulsion, perseveration. Your serotonin. Everybody's heard of serotonin, right? Your SSRI drugs. Okay, serotonin pathways. You can see the serotonin pathways. All right, the functions of your serotonin: mood, memory processing, sleep and cognition. This is serotonin is the brain transmitter most often associated with depression if the levels aren't adequate, which is why everybody's on SSRIs. Serotonin is associated with panic disorders. Serotonin is 90% manufactured in the gut. So when we're eating stuff that tears up our gut, like GMO foods and stuff like that, I mean, that it tears up the bug's gut and blows them up. So what's it going to do to us? Pretty much same thing. So low levels of serotonin can lead to increased incidences of aggressive behavior, increased symptoms of anxiety and depression. And serotonin starts as tryptophan, the stuff that makes you sleepy when you eat the turkey. Okay, aside from mood, serotonin is also related to your cardiovascular system and other essential bodily functions. It's tied to almost 40 million or so brain cells you have at any given time. I mean, that's a lot of serotonin, because everybody thinks that all your neurotransmitters are made here. That's not true. We're busy tearing up our guts with all kind of nasty foods and things like that, and then wonder why we got anxiety and depression. It's because our guts are tore up. Anybody here norepinephrine? Okay, in medicine, we give that, it's a cardiac drug that we give to help raise blood pressure and stuff like that. But it's also a brain neurotransmitter as well as a stress hormone. It's released when into your bloodstream when the brain perceives a stressful event that has occurred. This is the stress hormone in the brain and is also found in the amygdala part of the brain, which is also down inside there, which controls both attention and responses. So, when your neurotransmitters are messed up, can you see how you're all messed up? I mean, you don't know if you're coming or going. When a stress response has been activated, it can affect your heart rate, blood sugar, blood flow to the muscles, but this chemical also has essential functions. It can boost your alertness, arousal level, as well as your ability to concentrate. In the low levels of it are linked to ADHD. And these are things that they want to give you. But these are things that are found normally in your body. And when we have deficiencies of these, then we don't act right. Anybody hear of glutamate or GABA? Yeah, GABA is a very calming thing. It also helps focus. All right, so your glutamate and your GABA, these are two chemicals are the brain's most plentiful neurotransmitters. About half the brain synapses involve glutamate, while up to 40% use the GABA. I can't even pronounce that. These transmitters work hand in hand to keep excitement levels of the brain in check. GABA is inhibitory and glutamate is excitatory. Substance abuse can change the balance of these neurotransmitters. For example, alcohol decreases glutamate and increases GABA, while tranquilizers increase GABA activity. So some of the stuff that we put in our bodies, and if you've seen alcoholics or drug addicts or whatever, they're acting all crazy. There's a reason for that besides the alcohol. It's the deficiencies and stuff that they've caused their body, and they really can't control things. And even when somebody has stopped doing drugs or stopped drinking, we still have to build up the system, and a lot of places don't do that. They don't build up the system. All right, so glutamate, an excess of glutamate is a primary contributing factor to a wide variety of neurological disorders like autism, ALS, Parkinson's, schizophrenia, migraines, restless leg, Tourette's, PANDAS, fibromyalgia, MS, Huntington, seizures, as well as AFib, insomnia, bedwetting, hyperactivity, OCD, bipolar. I mean, it just goes on and on. You've seen the hand flapping the little kids do when they're autistic. That, and lining up or spinning the toys, repeating rote phases or other repetitive body movements, and an increased risk of stroke. GABA. Your GI tract is packed with GABA receptors. Okay, so if our GI tract, again, is messed up, everything works together. It's, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. So everything works together. So your GI is packed with the GABA. It's critical for contraction of the bowel. All right, so insufficient levels in the abdominal can cause abdominal pain, constipation, impaired transit. It also supports healthy levels of IgA, that's antibodies that protect your gut and other mucus linings from harmful invaders, which mean it contributes to immune health. Its primary role is to calm the brain, slow things down, and relax you. One of the ways that it assists in this process is by increasing the alpha wave production. Okay, have anybody ever seen, when they put all the stickers on your head? Yeah, the alpha wave, they can measure your alpha waves, your delta waves, and stuff like that, and see what's going on with your head. One of the ways that it assists this process, okay, the alpha wave production, okay, it also vital in speech and language. GABA puts the pause or the space between the words when you speak. You ever seen anybody that just do a run-on? People with strokes. Without adequate GABA production, our conversations would consist of a lot of run-on sentences, slurred speech, loss of speech, and we would have trouble comprehending language. So these things are, they're super important, and we don't think of them as broken down into these neurotransmitters. And we sure don't think of our gut as having anything to do with our neurotransmitters, because we say neurotransmitters, we mean brain, right? So where do they come from? Okay, the raw material the body uses to manufacture these neurotransmitters comes from the foods we eat. The best source is from raw living foods. Imagine that. It's all hooked together. All right, so foods that increase your dopamine levels. Spirulina contains tyrosine. All right, so the amino acids tyrosine and phenylalanine, the phenylalanine are converted into dopamine. For this to happen, cofactors from vitamin C, B6, and folic acid, as well as the minerals zinc, copper, magnesium, iron, and manganese must be present. So we have to have a well-balanced diet.
Yeah, just go back.
Is it on? Okay. If you go back a couple on the glutamate.
Yeah.
What about the monsunyl glutamate? I know it's not what's the depth? I know the.
Oh, I know what you're, MSG.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a big difference. A few molecules different.
Yeah.
So your glutamate is just glutamate. And you got monosodium glutamate in the other. See, so it's if you looked at it chemically, you would see a big difference. So it doesn't affect the same way. It's not the same stuff. All right, so spirulina. Everybody know spirulina?
Yep.
Okay, so it contains tyrosine. So tyrosine is a building block. Amino acids are building blocks for this stuff. And amino acids usually come from protein. But you can get your protein from your plants. All right, red beets can,
Is there a way to get that from some other source that's spirulina?
Oh yeah, see, there's a list.
I mean, the bananas.
Yeah, there's a whole list of different things, of different foods and stuff where you can get these things. So it's not just one or two, it's spread out. It's spread out. So, and when we eat a well-balanced diet, we get what we need. All right, so your red beets contain betaine, acting as an antidepressant, and tyrosine. Apples, quercetin to prevent neurodegeneration and boost your dopamine. Kale, rich in folate to trigger dopamine production. Oregano oil has promising effects on mood swings and cravings by increasing dopamine levels. Bananas, including the amino acid tyrosine, which boosts dopamine. Strawberries and blueberries include tyrosine. And remember, your tyrosine is the precursor to your dopamine. So strawberries and blueberries. Green tea contains polyphenols, good for the brain, heart function, as well as dopamine production. Herbs like ginkgo biloba, nettles, dandelion, and ginseng. And then the foods where this stuff is found, it's not just that element. It's perfectly balanced with the other elements and stuff that the body needs to be able to process this stuff. And so it's not like taking, just the amino acid. Your food is whole, and so it brings in everything that you need to be able to put that through the system and be able to use it. So foods that increase your serotonin. All right, so the amino acid tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin. Flaxseed oil, bananas, sour cherries, dark chocolate, nuts and seeds, turmeric. So these are all like really good things. And of course, they cross over into the other things too.
Some people think you can just take the serotonin and that'll, in a pill form, and that'll take care of it. But actually, serotonin cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. And so it has to be in a tryptophan form before the body can have it cross the blood-brain barrier and the brain makes it into serotonin.
Exactly. So it's better that you have the precursors in the foods, instead of the pills that they give you. And let me tell you, okay, and if you're taking a pill, whenever you take, just take pain pills because everybody knows what they do, right? So if you're taking pain pills for chronic pain, right? What do they end up doing? They don't take care of the pain anymore, so you have to up that dosage, okay? So any of these pills, like the SSRIs and stuff, pretty soon they're not going to work. You have to up that dosage, okay? And then they up the dosage to where it no longer works, so they have to find a stronger pill. And I have seen people, I have went and picked them up laying on the floor, and no other answers. And the doctor said that I'm sorry, there's nothing more we can do for you. We've created this monster, and now you're kind of at the end of and here you are. And to watch a wife beg for her husband and him laying on the floor, I've seen it. It's awful. And I can't really go in there and tell him, hey, I got an idea for you. I can't do that. Not in that atmosphere. All right, so foods that increase your norepi levels. All right, so dopamine is converted into norepi, a neurotransmitter released in a response to stress. So you got almonds, apples, avocados, bananas, and we've seen some of these foods in the other things, right? So beets, chocolate, fava beans, green leafy vegetables, green tea, lima beans, olive oil, oregano, peanuts, rosemary, sea vegetables, sesame and pumpkin seeds, turmeric, watermelon. So you see, and these foods, they all have the different, the different pieces, but yet they're a whole food. So when we're eating that whole food, then our body's going to break it down into what it needs with the whole food diet. All right, so the food that increase your endorphins. Your endorphins are the things that make you feel good, right? So neuroscientists found that the brain has receptors for the painkillers it naturally produces. Those natural painkillers are what we know today as endorphins. They also make you feel good. So dark chocolate, spicy foods, group exercise. Like this morning, everybody feel good?
I'm just wondering about the chocolate thing. Isn't that like,
Yeah.
So
There's those.
because you've had it on about 3 slides here.
I know,
at least,
and
you
I
know.
see, and I'm a person that carob is okay in some things, but if it's a good, Hershey's chocolate is not a good chocolate, okay, but the chocolate and stuff that I'm going to eat some chocolate, and I know that it's put out there that and that's a choice that we make. But the dark chocolate, there's other things besides dark chocolate that you can get things from. And I don't seek dark chocolate out. In fact, it's not really even a favorite of mine, but I do eat some chocolate.
Because I know that just a dark chocolate, I think it contains like double the caffeine that even a cup of coffee has. So it's
We looked at where's Bernice? Me and Bernice looked it up because we had that conversation the other day.
right?
And you would have to eat an awful lot of dark chocolate.
There's something that starts with a B, this is different,
I don't know. I'd have to get it side by. But Bernice asked the same thing.
I got a couple
And
slides I'll
we-
share.
Yeah, we looked it up. So, and on some of these things, some people don't eat some of these things, but you can still get what you need from other things. Okay, so if you're not a dark chocolate eater, group exercise, we have that. So everybody's endorphins should be up a little bit. And listening to music, aromatherapy, because the aromatherapy stuff, of course, the smell is one of the strongest things that we have. It's one of the strongest things. Memories, emotions. All right, so your foods that increase GABA. It's an inhibitory neurotransmitter that has a calming effect on the body. Almond, tree nuts, bananas, broccolis, lentils, oranges, citrus fruit, spinach, walnuts, tree nuts. And it's got how many grams are in each of the GABA. So you see, if we have a well-balanced diet, then, we get some of everything, and our body's going to work. It's going to work well. A surprising link between diet and depression. Are you shocked?
Not really.
I didn't think you would be. All right, and the original diet, here we are once again, Genesis 1:29, and God said, behold, I give you every herb-bearing seed which is on the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
And how many foods have they taken the seeds out of?
Yeah, and okay, like watermelon, right? Does anybody eat the watermelon seeds? That's like the best part of the watermelon. That has so much stuff in it that's good for you.
Kernels, you can make like a ricotta cheese out of it.
Really? No, I didn't know that.
Miyoko has. I can't remember the video.
Oh, sorry, we need a what you call it?
Yeah, everybody's calling out stuff again.
What did she say?
She said that you can make a ricotta cheese out of the watermelon kernels.
Take one from the bottom.
How do you get the pull off?
Here, she needs a.
You just imagine like there's a specific.
Are you-
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of my watermelons.
Are you all familiar with Miyoko?
The butter,
yes.
the plant-based butter, yeah.
Yeah, she has some cookbooks, and her newest one has a recipe. She has a video on YouTube, but a recipe for making like a ricotta cheese out of this specific watermelon kernel. They're white. She gives you a link that you can order them from.
Oh,
I
okay.
have them, but I haven't made it yet. But it's her favorite.
Oh, wow,
So-
that would be really good. That would
a great
be.
way to get a watermelon seed in you.
I spelled Miyoko.
It's M-Y. Is it? Yeah, M-Y-O-K-O. I have some of the butter.
Okay. I just wanted to say with the watermelon thing, also, the white part is got more protein, more everything in it than the
You're
watermelon
absolutely
itself.
correct.
The white is the best part of the watermelon besides the seeds
Yes.
for the body. And then I wanted to bring up, the chocolate thing. There is a lady who did she did a CT scan of her brain before she ate chocolate, and then a CT scan of her brain after she ate chocolate. And the second CT scan showed that she had 40% less oxygen to the brain after eating the chocolate.
I wonder what, I
It
want to
was
know
a
how much
serving.
chocolate
It
and
was
what
just a
brand.
serving.
That is the video that I have. I actually have.
Yeah,
Did they say what brand of chocolate or?
It was just it. It was played on. I don't advertise this man, but it was one of what was his name? Anyway, and one of the Adventist men that he had it played. But Ellen White also has spoken against eating caffeine and eating
Yes.
chocolate.
She has.
So anyway, when I saw that, I saw the scan of the brain, and I just thought, no, I'm just going to leave it alone. So that's my choice.
And again, everybody has choices to make, and
That's right.
even even folks that run to McDonald's or whatever, that's their you're going to if there's a consequence, be it good or bad.
Just gotta be careful to choose what God says.
Exactly.
God spoke to his prophets
We should choose that.
Sorry, I was just saying we should be careful to choose what God says, and if God spoke through his prophets, we should choose what God has spoken through his prophets.
Probably.
All right, now the hand back up. Which one for you?
I'm just thinking about the old timers. They didn't waste anything. They pickled that watermelon.
The watermelon
rind.
seed, yeah.
The rind.
My grandma used to do that. It was
Yeah.
good. All right, so the toxins. All right, there's 3 big ones: grains, dairy, sugar.
Just did a search of chocolates and Ellen White works, and it says no results.
I know she speaks out on it. I do, because my grandma used to tell me that all the time too.
In the book, Ellen White wrote.
Yeah,
Don't make me get up front.
David will find it. Give him a minute.
I'm just saying.
All right, we need,
Yeah.
He'll find it. Don't worry. Just one more. Just one more. All right, so your toxins, your big 3: grains, dairy, sugar. Most of your grains are GMO anyway. You're gonna be hard pressed to find something that's not. Okay, sugar. James Gangwish, PhD, an assistant professor at Columbia University in the Department of Psychiatry, conducted an experiment that was documented by Time magazine using roughly 70,000 non-depressive women. He wanted to find out if foods with a higher glycemic index had a greater association with depression. Glycemic index is a value assigned to foods based on how slowly or how quickly those foods cause increase in the blood glucose levels, also known as blood sugar. He found that diets higher on the glycemic index, including those rich in refined grains and added sugar, were associated with greater odds of depression. And sugar is a depressant. We know that. Yeah. So the further away we stay from sugar, the better off we are. And even the stuff that we consider like safe, the honey, the dates, the things like that. Those things are good, but we can't make a habit out of them. We have to, moderation and a well-balanced diet. And if we're eating a lot of these things or adding a lot of this stuff to our foods, that's not a well-balanced diet. You can have some of these things, and the body doesn't treat like the honey. It doesn't treat honey like it does the white sugar. So it's different. And then the dates have got the fiber and stuff in them, but we're still not going to have a diet of just the dates or, lopsided.
The size of the date versus the
Just
size
remember,
of
they
the.
can't hear you out there in the recorder land.
Oh yeah. You need a microphone. Shame on you.
I was just going to mention that I know for myself, I was sick a lot when I was a child. Honey doesn't bother me, but sugar does. It'll bring my immune system
Our body
down.
treats it differently.
If it's raw.
Yeah, it treats even though they're like I said, but we still can't overload ourselves on it because it does make your sugar go up and stuff like that. But the body treats it differently, and yeah.
It's the same thing with fruit.
Yes.
And, everything in moderation. But if you eat protein with your sugars, with the sweet things, it counteracts the,
Yes, the sugar, the increase in sugar. Yes.
It makes it
Whenever I
different.
go out for a diabetic,
Yeah.
and if they're awake enough, if we can get them awake, if I'll pump the sugar into them, we wake them up. Okay, and the very first thing we want them to do is eat, and we want them to eat something with protein in it, because that protein it holds the sugar instead of,
Right.
because I just spiked your sugar and then it's just gonna drop.
So even when you have a meal with oatmeal and fruit and all these kinds of carbs, they're going to spike your sugar whether you're a diabetic or not.
Yes.
And it's going to affect the way you think. So
Yes.
you always should have, I just recommend making sure that you have plenty of protein with that, nuts, seeds, whatever it is.
protein, fiber, and fat in balance, and it even makes a difference. I can't remember the sequence, but the sequence that you eat it in. You
Because
know.
and it matters to the gallbladder, or not the gallbladder, the pancreas. We don't want to confuse the pancreas, because when the food hits your mouth, okay, it senses what kind of food is in there. So by the time it makes it down here where the pancreas releases it into the digestive tract, it already knows what's coming.
Right.
So, and then that way it can, and the people that end up with pancreatic cancer, they have poor, most of them have had poor food combinations like their whole life. Over here and then over here.
And no white sugar. Like if I had ice cream, a large amount of white sugar, white blood cells get sluggish.
Yes,
and they
they
can't
do.
fight the virus, and I'll catch a virus. I'll get sick. Little kids that get sick a lot, too much sugar, their white blood cells, the virus gets in.
Have you seen the video of the white blood cell chasing the bacteria? It's a cool video, but the sugar actually blinds the white blood cells, kind of makes them drunk, and they let the bacteria and the things that are going to harm you pass, because they drunk on sugar.
One thing is, it's a known fact, you can do research. One slice of cake will knock your immune system out for 4 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
The sodas, and you've seen people that drink sodas all day.
And then I wanted to say also, people don't masticate their food. That makes a big difference too.
You're supposed to chew well. You got to chew it up well.
Really well.
All right, so reasons why sugar destroys your health. We named a lot of them, but the refined sugar enters the digestive system. The blood sugar rises rapidly. Pancreas responds by producing a large amount of insulin. Overabundant insulin drives blood sugar too low, impairs frontal lobe function. And the people that have like the hypoglycemic, right? All right, well, they're doing this and they're on their way to diabetes. Just because you don't have diabetes yet, but your blood sugar's, bottoming out, it takes a toll on the body, and you do end up with diabetes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I heard a message there one time that our bodies are a food processor. And the first thing is when we chew our food, we have to grind the food up before it gets to the rest of the
Exactly. And there's
processing system.
there's enzymes that are released in the mouth from the parotid glands. How did he find it?
Okay. So this is the statistics that I got. So it's 1 ounce of coffee is 12.5 to 25 milligrams of caffeine. And 1 ounce of dark chocolate, 40 to 75 milligrams. So almost quadruple for dark chocolate compared to coffee as far as caffeine.
But you're comparing. But how many people drink 1 ounce of coffee?
I don't even know what an ounce really is, but
An ounce. It's like this.
That it seems like there's a lot more.
I think those are 16.
So there's
cups,
40 to
16 or 20.
75. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
so when you're eating chocolate, I mean, I get it, and they're comparing ounce to ounce, and you're correct. But if you look at the amount of coffee, but it's still, you're right, it's still caffeine, and we've been warned against it.
I do have a video I can show you about the issue that it does to the brain is pretty interesting. If you
And
want
how
to see
does
it later.
that compare with green tea?
I'm not a fan of green tea, and some of these things that are on the screen here, it's just what contains what. But I don't drink green tea. I don't drink it because your caffeine in your green tea, green tea is supposed to do a whole lot for you, but it's also very high in caffeine. And it's also very highly sprayed. Oh yeah. All right. So the reasons why sugar destroys your health. So it suppresses the immune system, interferes with the absorption of calcium and magnesium. Okay. And everybody's running around these days with, low magnesium. I wonder why? Because most of our diets are high in sugar. I don't even know what the statistics are, like how much sugar each American eats now. It's really high. Causes hyperactivity, anxiety, difficulty concentrating, crankiness in children, copper deficiency. Makes eyes more vulnerable to age-related macular degeneration, chromium deficiency. And chromium is one of those things that helps hold your blood sugar. So if the sugar's eating up your chromium, all right, now you don't have anything to control that chromium.
Yeah.
You're
A question regarding copper deficiency. I have seen some videos where like the hair color back to normal, and
I've
he's like
seen
50 something years old by restoring the copper in his diet, and he's using beef liver something to do it. And so, anyways, I'm wondering if you have any ideas with regards to other ways to do that other than that, like you know. And
I'm sorry, I don't eat guts.
No, it's
that.
that's another thing. See, that's my point. Is that like these things are obviously restricted
But
by the
but
Bible
in your
too.
greens, your greens, that's why your greens taste so bitter, is because the more bitter that they taste. Have you ever tasted a carrot top? Those things are really bitter, but they're a high amount of your minerals and stuff in them.
No.
Those things are rough.
So we have when I buy the organic juice, the organic carrots to juice,
Yeah.
I usually throw them in with the tops and all.
Yeah.
And I keep telling her not to cut those off. And so now we know that's another.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's hot. The more
Yeah.
bitter the green.
My dad said it's dangerous because they plant them nowadays with caffeine.
Wash it.
Like, yeah.
Well, everything's.
You can wash
You
them.
can wash that
And you
stuff.
can wash them in Celtic salt, put them in a salt brine and wash them in that. It'll kill it. And yeah.
But yeah,
you'll be
your
fine.
greens. I mean, there's a lot of the foods like your dark chocolate and stuff. Okay, that stuff really wasn't around when God was given the direction here. But
I was going to say, I did hear that, I can't remember where I heard of that, blackstrap molasses
Yes.
will restore hair color. David, blackstrap molasses restores hair color too. But I think that's sugar though, isn't it?
It is it's a derivative of the sugar making process.
Okay.
But it has a lot of the minerals and stuff in
It's
it.
got high nutrition, but get it organic because it'll also concentrate chemicals.
Yes. No.
No, you eat it. You eat it. Blackstrap molasses.
Oh, yeah, right. I used to take it.
He was saying that blackstrap molasses is supposed to restore the hair color, right? And he was teasing him when he said to rub it in your hair. You don't rub it in your hair, you eat it.
Got a question?
You do the black strap molasses if you're anemic, so it helps to build the blood.
Yeah, it's got a lot of iron and
that's
stuff in it.
something to take instead of an iron pill. You do the black strap.
The other thing that really helps for iron, like my sister had cancer and they'd had her on iron pills for 3 months. It hadn't brought it up. Spirulina, we put her on it and she was up in 2 weeks to normal.
And spirulina, it's a green, it's kind of an algae kind of a thing. Yeah. So then it leaves cancer of the ovaries, increases the risk of breast cancer, eczema, obesity, food allergies, tooth decay, arthritis, because it's inflammatory, right? Arthritis, anytime anybody has arthritis, that's an inflammatory thing right there. Just look in the mirror and say, okay, self, here's what we need to do. Improve that diet and go on the, take all the inflammatory things out of your diet. Asthma, heart disease, hemorrhoids, varicose veins. It can exacerbate PMS and the formation of kidney stones. Yeah, so sugar is not something, and if you look at the amount of sugar like that it's It's in everything. But if you look at the amount of the sugar that, like 100 years ago that people consumed, per person compared to what today, oh, it's over the top. I mean, like they never made cakes or cookies or anything unless it was a very, very special occasion. I mean,
I'm gonna do your jackfruit things instead.
those- yeah, those things are pretty good too.
Yeah,
All right, so what is gluten? All right, we're always talking about, I'm always talking about gluten. All right, it's from the Latin gluten, glue. It's a composite of storage proteins termed prolamines and glutenins and stored together with starch in the endosperm, in the little grain, which nourishes the embryonic plant during germination of various grass-related grains. It is found in wheat, barley, rye, oat, related species and hybrids such as spelt, Khorasan, emmer, einkorn, triticale, kamut, etc. And products of these, like malt, gluten is appreciated for the viscoelastic properties. Like gives your bread, it's squishy. Gives elasticity to the dough, helping it rise and keep its shape, and often gives the final product a chewy texture, which is, that's what we've come to like. And if you've ever had like a whole grain bread, it's more heavy and dense. And then whenever like my gluten-free stuff, it's heavier, it's denser, and you don't have the chewy stuff. But you also, the grains also cause your sugar to rise too, because they turn to sugar. Did you know that gluten can contribute to all of the following problems? Acid reflux, heartburn, anemia, autoimmune, thyroid, rheumatoid, type 1 diabetes, depression, migraine headaches, bone loss, IBS, chronic fatigue, gas, bloating, unexplained bouts of dizziness, ear ringing. There you go. Where's David and his ear ringing? Skin rashes, dermatitis, herpetiformis, eczema, psoriasis, unexplained infertility. And all of this has been proven. You can go to the glutenfreesociety.org. They call this doctor a Nazi because he's all over it. But one of his first patients was a little kid that had rheumatoid arthritis. And they had given the kid his last wish. The Make-A-Wish Foundation had given the kid his last wish. And they had exhausted everything. And then somebody said, hey, why don't you go see Dr. Osborne? And this is Peter Osborne, not Dr. Oz or whatever. This is Dr. Peter Osborne. He's in Texas. And he runs his clinic in the Gluten-Free Society. Anyway, they brought this kid as a last-ditch effort. And that kid is still alive today and functioning normal. It was the gluten. And gluten, we know for sure, rheumatoid arthritis. You get rid of the grains, the rheumatoid arthritis goes away and the body heals. I had a friend that had Crohn's disease, and I used to babysit her when I was, like in high school and stuff. And I hadn't really seen her over several years. And of course, on Facebook, we were friends and stuff. And so I seen her, and she was talking about, how bad she felt and everything. And so I keep kind of getting hounded to call her. And she wasn't that close of a friend to just call. And the voice got louder and louder, and so finally I was like, okay, I'll make the call. I called her and I said, listen, I got a message for you. And she said, okay, what is it? And so I explained the gluten-free diet and how it might help her. And so she started making excuses, and I said, stop. I said, I'm just giving you the information. You get to do with it what you want to do with it. And what I didn't know is she was deathly sick at the time, and they wanted to do infusions. She had to drive 3 hours round, 3 hours there, 3 hours back, and then however long it took to get the infusion. The infusions were thousands of dollars. They didn't have insurance. She was backed up against the wall. She had nothing else. So there was nothing left except what I told her. She's Crohn's free now. She doesn't have Crohn's anymore. Yeah, and the clinic that where she was going, they keep infusions. She doesn't have it anymore. So so the grains they're horrible. They wreak havoc. And then of course we seen this the other day. with your, the wheat, barley, rye, oats, millet, corn, rice. And they'll tell you that rice is gluten-free. They tell you, oats sometimes. But adenine, that's the gluten in the oat. God didn't make a gluten-free oat. He did make a gliadin-free oat, because I was like, okay, how can they say that oats are gluten-free when they're not? And you go to any kind of a agricultural website and look this stuff up. That's where I got most of this stuff. That and the Gluten-Free Society. But when they're advertising the gluten-free oat, and Cheerios spent $1 million making their gluten-free facility, they mean gliadin-free, is what they mean. So it's wheat-free.
So if you eat rice, you're not gluten-free?
Nope.
Really?
And see, what happens is when you are gluten, and everybody that gets what do you call it? What's the celiac? Before they become celiac, they're gluten sensitive, and they don't recognize the symptoms, and neither does their doctors. So they continue until their gut is eroded, and they end up with celiac disease. Okay, and then if you've got celiac disease, because of course your gut's eroded, right? Okay, so now we just learned you're not making, your dopamine, your serotonin, your norepi. You're not going to be able to make that stuff. You're not going to be able to process that stuff. So, these things that tear your gut up is going to mess with your head, and the way you perceive things and the way that you are able to, function day to day.
Did you mention quinoa?
Quinoa's a protein.
I know.
It's a seed.
The reason is that quinoa is a great substitute for rice.
Yes, it is.
And it's a great substitute, and it's high in protein.
You just have to be careful about the cross contamination, because they do process it on the same equipment that they process the other grains on. But there are places where you can make sure, or you can get
get organic, for sure,
Yes.
and wash it really well.
But the organic does not guarantee that it is not processed on the same equipment as wheat.
Nothing's guaranteed.
I know. There's no guarantees these days.
The way you wash it is it's just like rice. It's 2 to 1. You take 2 cups of rice to 4 cups of water, and you put it in a little strainer, and you run it through water, and you just keep going and running it till it comes out really clear and not very starchy. And then you just put it on the stove, and first you bring the water to a boil, right? I think you bring the water to a boil, and then you put it in, and you cook it on low until the water's gone with a lid, just like you would rice.
I think somebody over here.
I have a question, and that I've heard that it's easier to digest the fresh ground grain as opposed to what you buy in the store. Is that true?
I think so. I have read that too, because you're breaking things down. But if it's got gluten in it, it's still you're still gonna get the same effect. But yes, quinoa is a protein, so it's actually a seed. The amino acids are your proteins.
So what about the ancient grains, like the einkorn and all that other stuff?
We mentioned a couple slides back. Did you see that?
Sorry, I must have went to the bathroom.
Oh, you were in the bathroom. Okay, here. Let me reverse this for you. There you go. See there, it says it's found in wheat, barley, rye, oat, related species, and hybrids such as spelt, Khorasan, emmer, einkorn, triticale, kamut. There you go.
A lot of people get off of the grains that are stored, go on these things, and use these ones.
They do well.
They do better. Yeah, they do better. And now
And God says there's a blessing in the bread, and if you read it in the Bible. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, Linda has the microphone.
Okay.
It's her turn.
I was just going to say, for those that are sensitive like myself, I've found I do a lot better without the wheat gluten. However, I don't have any trouble digesting oats. Otherwise, if I eat the wheat, I'm in the bathroom every 10 minutes. It's not fun. And if I eat oats, it doesn't bother me. Rice doesn't bother me. My daughter's also allergic to both. And I just want to clarify that every one of those is the seed. They're the seeds of the plant.
They are the seed from the plant, but they are a gluten containing. But but there is a difference between a seed and a grain.
For me, I still have a lot of things to do, but those ancient grains, the ones that were not genetically modified during the war, like they did our regular wheat, I can make bread out of those and tortillas or whatever I'm making, and I don't have the effects that I do.
Some people
from
say
the
that
other.
they don't, and I can tell you that some people will also they'll go on a gluten-free diet, right? And then they'll go, but rice doesn't bother me. All right, well, when your body's used to that huge onslaught of gluten from the wheat and the other things that you're eating, and then you're eating the rice, at first it won't. But then you end up getting what's called gluten whiplash. And so you can get that, and and it's inflammatory. So it can still affect you, even though you don't think that it does. It's at and it's a slower burn because your wheat just slams the body. And if you look down here at the rice, look, it's at 5. I mean, so the body can it may be able to yeah. And see, I can't eat anything on this list. When I did 2 different tests. I did a blood test and I did a DNA test. And I pegged both of them. So I can't eat any of that stuff.
Wait, so it will show you that
Yeah, the DNA test and the blood test. I didn't feel like I needed one, but everybody else thought that I did. So I was like, okay, fine. For your peace of mind, I will get it. And yeah, I pegged them. I have the tests on here on my computer someplace. Over here. Okay, you and then you.
Yeah. I just keep going back to Deuteronomy 8:8, which are the foods in the promised land. And it's wheat, barley are the 2 grains. And the wheat was the ancient wheat. It wasn't modern. And I'm sure barley, you have to be real careful of it now too. But it's the first 2, wheat, barley, figs, pomegranates, grapes, honey, which was probably date sugar, and olive oil. So it doesn't say just olives, it says olive oil. So, and those last 2 would be processed a bit. But so there's either no grains or no fat kind of thing. It's not balanced.
No, it's not balanced, but the grains,
yeah,
I can't do. So I mean, my bread is made out of quinoa.
Right.
Quinoa or some other different
and
flours.
the bagel was actually good, but some people, the older stuff, if we can get a hold of that, it was, he called it good,
but at the time it wasn't GMO'd and
Right.
highly sprayed
Right.
and hybridized.
But ancient grains, freshly milled, I think make a difference for a whole lot of people.
They can.
Some people
can
just
say
still
that they can't eat the grains here, but they'll go to Europe and say that they can eat all the pastries and breads and everything, and it doesn't bother them.
It's a totally.
Yeah, they don't.
Well, that
It's
too.
And so a lot of people say that it's the Roundup. I think it's a combination of the Roundup and the gluten.
That glyphosate. Yeah. So,
and she has one over here.
Well, you were talking about sugar. And any grain milled to a flour form is sugar to the body.
Yes. Yes.
So, they have like food addicts, and what are they? It's just an abstinence program to all forms of sugar, all forms of flour, and wheat, all forms of wheat. But it's all forms of flour. So you have to eat the grain whole. Now, I think they said it was okay to eat.
Well, it has the brand
bread.
and stuff on it. If you're talking about a whole grain, but see, whenever they make a flour and stuff, they remove the brand from the grain. Okay, and then they add a bunch of vitamins and stuff, and then they used to use iodine as a dough conditioner, and now they use oh gosh, I can't remember. I'll think of it in a minute. But it's on the what's it called, the mineral chart, and if you go down. When you go down it's by weight. All right. And if you look in the row, it has fluoride, it has chlorine, bromine. That's it. Bromide. They used to use, and that's what they use now is bromide. Okay. And those three are above here, and down here is the iodine. So chlorine, fluoride, and bromide displace the iodine. And what does every single cell in the body need? Iodine. Where does it show up mostly? Thyroid, hypothyroidism. And yeah, and there's a pandemic of that because, and the biggest hog of iodine is breast. Is the breast. And they take more iodine than the thyroid. So iodine's used in every cell of the body. And they're also found in greens.
And that's what they put in the water is the chlorine.
The chlorine and the fluoride.
So efficient.
Well water, or I have a distiller, and as long as you're eating they used to say and some people still do, that if you have distilled water, you're not getting your it's washing the minerals out, which isn't true. If you're eating a diet, a well-rounded diet, you're fine.
Yeah, as long as you get it somewhere else, because it does absorb some. Because we had that problem with women who are pregnant.
Yeah, but you have to, and if you eat the well-rounded diet, you will be getting the minerals. You can also, they also have the mineral drops you can put in the water, and it gives it kind of a crisp taste, I guess, if water has a taste. Hold on, you need the microphone.
But I wasn't done. That's why
sorry.
I didn't let it go.
Sorry.
So they have Ezekiel bread that's made from sprouts. But you were talking a whole lot about sugar and what it does to our body.
Mm-hmm.
And so the flour does the same thing.
Yes, it does.
Because it's straight to sugar. So, and then, over in Europe, they won't even let our grains into their country. They will not take any of our grains.
No, because ours have been hybridized and GMO'd and sprayed.
But that's why you can have a better effect when you're out of this country with grains. But anyways, any flour will go straight to sugar.
You don't spoke up now.
I wanted to go back to the distilled water. I had heard that distilled water could actually help your body leach out some of the minerals that aren't good for you, the inorganic minerals, because the minerals you want are the plant-based minerals, not the buildup of the inorganic minerals from like hard water. Like we have very hard water. So we distill a lot too.
The two owners of Cellcore, Dr. Todd, he had a water distiller, and he learned early on. So he distills his water, and they have city water. So, they're all right. And so, and Dr. Davidson, he was in Puerto Rico. His wife was having problems, and so he would do meetings and stuff, and he was talking about how his wife was sick, and he said, you need to distill your water. These symptoms that she's having, you need to distill your water. So they go back a year later, they come, she's still sick. I mean, this woman she's really getting sick now. And Dr. Todd looked at him and he said, have you distilled your water yet? And he goes, well, no. He said, stop talking to me. Go distill your water. They started distilling the water, and his wife got healthy again. It was the water.
I just want to go back to the bread flour thing. two places in scripture. Deuteronomy 28:5 is a blessing on the bread bowl, which is dough. And then in Numbers 15, 17, and 21, it talks about the challah. When you're making your bread, take out a cake for the Lord as a heave offering. And that's where the word challah is. It's not the whole braided loaf. It's the heave offering is the challah. But that's two places where it talks about bread, not just the grains. And it's a blessing on the bread bowls. So I know modern.
I hope God likes gluten-free because I can't eat the wheat.
No, you can't. But some can, because the wheat is a different kind of gluten, than some of the other things. And some people are just intolerant of, the modern wheat kind of gluten, which everybody should be intolerant to that, even if it has or has not the glyphosate in it, because it's so hybridized. With the ancient grains, freshly milled, and that doesn't mean mill it and store it. It means mill it and make it.
Yeah. See, our grains are stored. All right. So they're GMO'd and sprayed in the field, right?
Right.
So then when they go to store them, they spray them again.
And
And then when they come out of storage, they spray them again.
And the nutrients oxidize out.
Yes.
And it goes rancid. So
that's why they spray them.
Right. So freshly milled and made then. I don't know. I just can't get away from what Scripture has to say.
Well, God's going to have to, he's going to have to like gluten-free with me because I just can't.
But there are, I still know that everybody has to be away from it. Totally. If you tolerate it, and as he refines things, I know at the end we're going to be eating forage foods anyway.
Greens.
Yeah.
Back to the Genesis 1:29.
Okay, the chart doesn't show how much gluten is in the grains.
These
but
days,
it probably
yes.
doesn't matter, right? Because they all have gluten. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, those do.
Yeah. So the amount of each one probably doesn't matter.
The amount of gluten, like what you can fit on the head of a pin, will affect somebody like me. So it'll take me 3 weeks to get over it.
Maybe we can our last question on gluten and move on to the next slide. Here, we got this lady.
I have a question more than anything else is, okay, so I accept that a lot of people have the condition that you have and everything that you're talking about, I validate. But what if, even though you eat lots of greens, which I am a total believer of mostly raw and greens, and nuts and seeds and things like that. But what if it's other things in your diet that you're not aware of that's causing you to be not able to have any of this? Maybe it's other things that you haven't taken a good look at, and you're thinking that those things are okay because you didn't get a reaction from that. But if you change the other things in the diet that came more in line with
normally, if you got a gluten allergy, it's gluten.
Normally, but we don't know for sure.
I've had the blood. Well, I did have the blood tests,
I'm
the
not
blood
saying-
tests and the DNA.
Yes, I'm
and
saying that's true.
And I've also had the blood tests for other food allergies as well. I've had those as well, and most of that stuff I don't even eat.
Well, it's something to think about because I know I've had to change a lot of that because there you go.
We farmed organically for 25 years, and they don't actually GMO any of those grains because otherwise they couldn't spray them with Roundup to kill them and straight combine them, which they do. Roundup will not kill a GMO grain. So it's not actually GMO'd, but it's because they'll go and spray the wheat fields with Roundup and kill the whole works. But you go and you spray a cornfield with Roundup because the corn is GMO'd. That will actually not kill any one of those corn stalks. So there is a difference.
Because they've genetically modified it in the seed. So when the corn sprouts.
They're hybridized. A lot of them are hybridized, but they're not actually genetically modified as far as being able to spray them with Roundup. And so I just wanted to clarify that because they actually do use Roundup to spray on lentils, pinto beans, everything.
Oh, it's on a lot of everything.
And it's to kill them so they can straight combine them. So it's got the Roundup in it, but it's
Yes.
not from the same source as having it in the corn or the soybeans and some of that is genetically modified. So I just wanted to clarify that because we did farming.
All right, dairy. All right, so dairy we kind of went over the other day too. It's homogenized and pasteurized, and it becomes artery clogging. It actually takes calcium from the bones to digest the milk, creates mucus, creates an acidic condition in the body. And so it's showing a vegan artery, and then it's showing a non-vegan artery. And you get the plaque buildup. And then if you get the plaque buildup and a piece of that plaque breaks off, then you got a clot someplace. Again, in the brain, it's a stroke. In the heart, it's a heart attack. In the lungs, it's a pulmonary embolism. In the leg, it's a DVT.
None of which is good.
No. All right, where do you get your calcium? Well, there's right there. There's a whole lot. And if you, ask an elephant where he gets his calcium. An elephant's a vegan. All right, so the top 10 sources of your veggie protein. Spinach, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, mushrooms, parsley, cucumbers, green pepper, cabbage, tomatoes. And then in the meat, it's beef, chicken, and eggs. And then you can see like the kale's got 45%. And if you go down at beef, it's 25.8. All right, but to get your protein out of the meat, your body's got to do a whole lot of work just to get that little bit of protein out. Whereas the kale, you're probably going to use the whole thing because it's got the fiber, it's got all the other things that we talked about in it, and it's all perfectly in there. Well, wait, where's the?
With the spinach and that, you have to probably to equal.
It's supposed to. I think that's per
Wouldn't you-
serving.
Oh, is it?
It's like per
Because
serving.
wouldn't you have to add like tons of it to equal?
Oh my gosh, the lady that came from Russia, the raw food family. I forget their name. Butenkos. She did, in a green smoothie.
Yeah.
In her green smoothies, there was as much protein as a piece of chicken, as a serving of chicken.
So she put like full it.
Yeah. She had I think she was a quart jar or something like that. Which you can down a quart jar of green smoothie real simple. It's easy.
I'm not sure.
I used to drink it on the way to work.
I was just going to say that when you eat meat, it's a protein. The body, any of it, it's animal. The body has to work to break it back down into amino acids. Whereas if it's a vegetable source, it's already in the state your body needs
your
it.
amino acid, and so you don't. And the animal products are real hard on your kidneys.
Yeah, because the uric acid, it breaks down and it
Yes.
So
And gout. Anybody heard of gout?
yeah. But when we eat cows and chickens and things, we're eating our vegetables secondhand.
Yes.
And with chickens, they eat anything. So.
And of course, we've seen this this week a couple of times. This your cell disorganization, and health is at the cellular level. You might look good and be able to function good on the outside, but when you go to look at the cells, look at the cellular level, you can see what those, what kind of shape them cells are in, and that's where your health comes from. Is from those cells.
Is that machine you had that it checks the cells?
Yeah, I can see. I have a microscope that we can see the blood cells with. I didn't. They didn't ask me to, or I would have. Okay, in the medical field, you get a blood test done, and they measure what's called the SED rate, which means they put a drop of blood in a liquid, and they measure the time that it takes to get from this point to this point. Yeah, your sedimentation rate. Okay. Well, the reason that stuff, even if it falls very quickly, it's heavier, right? Okay. Well, this is the reason that it's heavier, and they tell you that's your inflammation level. Well, this is what your blood looks like if that sed rate is is out of, if it's out of whack. This is what your blood's looking like. So when they tell you you have inflammation in the body and they do that blood test, this is what you got. You can't carry nutrients. You can't carry oxygen. You're looking at a stroke in the making.
So is that autoimmune disease?
That's just inflammation. That's just what I mean. The other day I was telling him that there was a guy that I worked with, and he wanted me to look at his blood. Well, he came, and it pretty much looked like that. Because I couldn't really tell him anything about his blood other than, okay, you are super inflamed. I said, if you don't change your lifestyle, I said, you're going to have stroke, heart attack, cancer, who knows, He was diagnosed this last year with cancer. He did not change. He didn't change. So the health is at the cellular level. I mean, and even the Bible says that the health is in the blood. The life is in the blood. Yeah. So, and if you look at your blood, it'll tell you if you're healthy or not. So you could be running around looking, you might look good. And some of the skinniest people I've ever met are some of the sickest people I've ever met. All right, so several studies showed that depressed patients with higher inner religiosity, I guess if that's a word, recover sooner than non-religious patients. So if you have a relationship with God, they do a whole lot better. Going through the forms of religion without a firm belief is of little benefit. Daily reading of scripture is recommended for improved mental health. The key in prayer is giving oneself totally to the will of God. Exercise, and you knew it was coming, chiropractic care. And your nervous system controls everything. And the one chart there with the little brain and the spinal cord, you can see where the nerves come off and what they feed. It's kind of a small picture, but you get the picture that, where the nerves come out and that's where they're going. And again, your subluxation, those little nerves that are coming off the spinal cord, and if it say you got a nerve going to your colon, and it's being pinched coming out due to subluxation. Okay, so the brain can't speak to the colon and tell it to move when it's got, ick in there, the garbage. They're going to take out the garbage. So you're constipated, right? I have adjusted people, made the adjustment, and all of a sudden they got to go right now. Because now the brain can speak and said, hey man, you're overloaded, dump now. And it matters. I mean, there have been people that like their pancreas didn't work. They had diabetic symptoms, high blood sugar and stuff like that, got an adjustment, and the blood sugar was under control. One of the great chiropractors, he had an adjustment and he had cancer. And as soon as the adjustment was made, right after that, he went into remission. So it matters. Because your spine feeds everything. And your causes of the subluxation, thoughts, toxins, and trauma. And what are we putting into our bodies a lot? Toxins. So, things go out. Thoughts, we get depressed, right? We get depressed because of the toxins we got in there. So, and then of course trauma, falls and car wrecks and things like that. Snowmobile wrecks. And just the weight of a dime can cause a 40 to 60% decrease in electrical transmission down the course of a nerve. And that's not very heavy. So you can imagine in there, if they're in your spinal cord here, if it's out of adjustment a little bit and it's just got just a little bit of pressure, that means that there's no pain. There's no pain, but you got a little bit of pressure. It still causes your brain not be able to talk. All right, and so your atlas adjustment. Your atlas is the very first bone right up here that your head, the occiput sits on, and it sits right on top. And if that's misaligned and that's putting pressure on that spinal cord, when you break down there's a picture when you break down the spinal cord, dizziness, nausea, hormones, brain fog, coordination of movement. I almost failed out of chiropractic school because I was having trouble. I was in a car wreck and my atlas was misaligned. And I went and the lady told me, let's send you here for a chiropractic adjustment. They adjusted my atlas. I came home and all I could do was crying and I was upset about everything. I called her up and I was like, what is this adjustment doing? And she goes, no, it's a good adjustment. Write it out. And then I could concentrate in class. I passed all the tests with no problems. Like, we'd go for a test. And I was failing tests. And I had been in a car accident and my atlas was misaligned. And so it's showing also up here the straight, okay? The spinal cord goes down, it's unimpaired. The other one, when it's lopsided like that, it pulls on that spinal cord, puts pressure on it. And during the surgery, like a back surgery or something, you can't even touch the spinal cord without causing issues. And here's kind of a break. This is kind of what your spinal cord looks like. Facial problems, these are the different things. So you can see, and it goes right through that atlas. So it puts pressure on that stuff: sleep, mood, heart rate, blood pressure. And you can see the imbalance. That's before the adjustment. That's after the adjustment.
So do you find they stay in here?
It depends on your health. The healthier you are, your body can hold the adjustment. Okay, but if you're sick and got all kinds of problems, your body's going to have trouble holding that adjustment because the health of your body is going to affect your ligaments, your tendons, your posture, everything. And again, that shows you how it puts pressure on the brainstem, especially that axis, the atlas. With chiropractic care, you get 60% less hospital admissions, 59% days less in the hospital, 62% less outpatient surgeries, 85% less pharmaceutical costs. And more people are choosing, the chiropractic thing. And a lot of people get off their meds with the chiropractic treatment because you're getting chiropractic treatment. You're also they're going to preach at you about your health. And I've seen like some older folks that get the chiropractic care and they come in and they're like walking upright. They don't have problems with their balance. They do well. And this is sort of a balance thing. It's not complete, but it's better than the food pyramid. And they've got grains on here as a thing. But this is your health. Your health is everything: your spirituality, your career, your physical activity, your relationship. Water's huge because we're mostly water. And then what you eat. So health isn't just one thing. Matthew 6:33-34, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So now you know what to eat to feel good. No anxiety, no depression. Makes a difference.
Thank you.